Today is June 11, 2018 tongue-tied right off the bat. Regular council meeting for the Village of Stryker, June 11, 2018. Leading us in prayer tonight is Mr. Ingram, pastor of the Baptist Church here in Stryker. Sir?
All right, let's bow our heads. Our Heavenly Father, we're thankful for this community that you've given us to live in, for the spirit of its citizens that come together to do things like the community garden. It's a great place to live. We're also thankful for these men and women that devote their time and energy to helping to keep this community a place of safety and peace. We ask tonight as they discuss the business relevant to this village that you give them wisdom and discernment, harmony as they deliberate, help them to make the right choices for us, not just the ones that are profitable and beneficial, but also those that are right and good. We ask that they would do it with your principles in mind. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Amen. And tonight leading us in the pledge is veteran Mr. Butch Clemens.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you both.
Thank you, guys. Have a good meeting, guys.
Thank you. Okay, with that takes us to roll call. Beth?
Armstrong?
Yeah.
Overland? Blevins?
Yes.
Sperling?
Yes.
Cameron? Tompkins?
Yes.
Okay, with that, the prior minutes, looking for a motion to approve the minutes of 5/14/2018.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of 5/14/18.
Is there a second?
Second that motion.
Okay, any additions or corrections to that or discussion prior to approval? Okay, roll call?
I'm sorry, I missed the second. Sorry. Blevins?
Yes.
Sperling?
Yes.
Tompkins?
Yes.
Armstrong?
Yeah.
Finance report, looking for a motion on that as of 6/7/2018. Is there a motion?
I make the motion, we accept the finance report of 6/7/18.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, before we vote on that, does anyone have any discussions for that, for Beth?
Quick question. Stunt Cams LLC.
I believe. Let's see.
What page is that on?
What number is
That
it?
would be page 2.
Page 2.
What payment number?
Payment number 14079.
That was something, that was Stump Cams LLC.
Oh, yeah,
That
we
was-
had to replace a body cam.
Yeah.
Clear enough?
Thank you. Any other questions for Beth? Beth, did you have anything you want to add before?
I just want to say that the expenses from the last meeting were just a little over 74,000, and our revenue was just over 88,000. So we haven't gotten the new truck yet, so we're still waiting on that.
So we're setting tight but decent, or I shouldn't even say decent, we're setting tight but in the right area.
On that topic, the truck, is that a replaced one or?
That's the one that we sold as one.
Oh, okay.
Okay, roll call to accept.
Sperling?
Yes.
Tompkins?
Yes.
Armstrong?
Yes.
Blevins?
Yes.
Okay, that puts us into communication over the Stryker Summerfest. The understanding is, or we were informed that fire department would not be hosting that this year. Much concern over that from citizens. We're getting with a few people, and yes, there is going to be one. The date is 8/25/18. 8/25 will be the Summerfest. We're going to start meetings here soon. Location is we're going to be over here at the park, Springfield Township Park. It will be there. As far as the activities, that is still to be determined. We need to get a meeting together and I'll be posting it out there for people in the community to kind of get together like we have in the past. That way it's just not one person running it, it's a whole group or a committee to determine all the activities that go on. So 8/25 is the Summerfest, and then there will be a meeting. I will get that posted out there. We'll also get it on our website. That meeting will be held here until we can't hold that many people. So hopefully it's a ton of people. So if you have interest in that, it'd be great. We're not looking for an individual to do it by themselves, by any means, or an individual entity such as the Rotary or Heritage or whatever help that we may get from some of the community. So good news with that. We are able to provide that this year. That's going to lead us into, I'll go into the citizens. Katie is a solicitor. We got the Bryan Times and Village Reporter here. And then Butch, you had some things that you want to bring to
Yeah,
us?
I'm not going crazy, but just, I was told, if you have a concern about anything, and if you don't speak up, you might as well keep your mouth shut.
Okay.
So I have just a couple of things that I don't want to bring to you guys' attention, and you can deal with it as you feel right.
Okay.
So let me try to find this. Okay, here's how it goes. I have concerns about mowing property across the creek. You know what I'm talking about down here? Looks like a
Storrs.
hayfield. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and either we obey the mowing laws or we do away with them. It's up to you guys, whatever how you want to do it. Dogs and cats running loose, doing their business in other people's yards. That happens a lot in the north end. I'm not mentioning any names. Restrictions on above-ground pools in relation to containment from failure in relationship to damage to adjacent people's properties. Now, that happened in the north end and affected me a little bit, and nothing serious, but maybe we ought to think about that in the future. Above ground pools, wherever they put them, there ought to be some kind of a mandatory liability insurance involved in them, in the fact that when they put them in case they do fail, which they do, that doesn't flood the neighbor's basement or wipe out their garden or whatever, just a thought. And people joyriding their four-wheelers around town with no regard for law. This happened in the north end again, around whatever. And maybe we ought to rewrite the ordinances. I'm not against that. But if we have an ordinance that they can't do it, then we ought to enforce it. Or change the ordinance so that they can write them. I really don't care. But it ought to be one way or the other. And once again, we're nearing the 4th of July. I'm looking to Steve. He knows what that's all about. And I just really would not appreciate people shooting their ordinances on my property. And that's all I got to say. So,
Okay.
and if you have any questions, I'll answer them. Otherwise, I'm going to leave. I'm not all upset. I'm just saying something for you to consider.
Out of, it looks like 3 of them, out actually 4 with the fireworks coming up. We know with 4th of July, it happens everywhere.
But it's against the law
It
in
is.
Ohio.
It is.
Right.
But we also know that it happens everywhere with 4th of July.
Not in my area.
All 4 of those need to be directed towards Steve, so or one of the officers on duty. So if you see it, don't wait to come just to us.
No.
Make sure that your first call is there.
Yeah, and last year was well taken care of.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
That would include, like with the mowing, if you had a concern there, you could discuss that with Chief as well as the dogs and the four-wheelers. Definitely let them know about it. If it was 3 weeks ago and you're just bringing kids down and stuff.
It's
But what
daily.
I'm saying,
Yeah.
make sure you get that. As far as the pool, I'm assuming that would be some type of insurance type thing. I don't know, but it's
Here's what I'm saying. I want to give you a prime example. My neighbor's pool did that.
okay.
No, it was, he didn't know it was going to happen. It happened. But it did, it went into the field. But it affected the field now because it washed the water away and made a hole. You understand? So the water lays there now. I'm just saying. It's not my problem, but it affected my property. I happen to get along good with the guy, so I'm not going crazy. But if he would happen to sell it to somebody else, and I may not get along good with that guy,
Oh, I thought you said it went in your basement.
no, it didn't.
Oh, okay.
Luckily, it didn't, but
Okay.
I'm saying there are pools around town that if they would burst, could.
Mm,
It's
okay.
just like the fact, another neighbor up there in the north end, if his pool breaks, that's going in, that's coming south into somebody else's area and into their stuff. So I'm saying the council ought to just discuss it, look at it and say, hey, you can't just put them everywhere or anywhere. Cause if they would happen to break, they're gonna affect some people's property.
Potential.
So that's all I'm saying,
Okay,
just to look at it.
all right,
Okay,
all right, thank you, sir.
Yep. Thank you for listening.
That's also going to lead us into, we're gonna kind of do a 7A in this as well. And I kind of gave Mr. Sperling a heads up on this. One of the things that's kind of been going for the last couple of months is some of the concern over some of the conflict between entities with some of the things that we have going on and some of the requests. So just to recap, we had Katie, our solicitor, to go through, look at a ton of different things, get some opinions. And we've asked Bob to go through, upon agreement, the 60 days to decide which area he was looking at. So I guess with that, Bob, I'm gonna kind of turn it over to you. It was brought up last month as well on how long we were gonna do that. It does kind of slow us down a little bit with some other things, but
Okay.
out of respect, we gave you those 60 days.
Well, I was in Columbus today. I consulted, I think 2 weeks ago. Did you get my email, Katie?
Last Tuesday,
Last Tuesday, okay, and you never replied to me.
this morning.
Oh, well, I was in Columbus this morning.
Yes.
And I was consulting in Columbus, as I did last week. And anyhow, where I'm at right now is I contacted the AG office. I was really hoping to do lunch today with, the Attorney General, but he was tied up. So anyways, I've contacted the prosecuting attorney, and I've contacted the AG office. I'm waiting on an interpretation upon advice from some of my folks in Columbus.
Okay.
So that's where I'm at now.
So you don't have a decision, one way or the other?
No, I do not at this point in time. I thought that I would until I did some investigation upon my own, and then I wanted to consult with Katie and see what she had to say, and I was not successful with that, so. Anyhow, so the day I got the ball rolling for a written interpretation.
Okay. I have a couple concerns, and I hope you know I'm gonna be very frank. One, that yes, we did give the 60 with the possibility of an extension upon their approval. I'm a little concerned over doing some investigation by yourself, for yourself, because that leans more towards biased, in an opinion, in my opinion. Where with our solicitor, it's an unbiased, she went and got
I
got
waited
that
2
as
weeks for a
well.
reply.
Well, she also stated when the email came, and it was sent today. So I'm gonna turn over to Katie a little bit on this one.
Okay.
And I want to be clear about that, my allegiance is to the village, not any one council member. So it's very difficult for me if I have a feeling that I'm going to be called on to ask advice concerning one position,
Yeah.
that I'm not going to be able to be unbiased about it. So my allegiance is first and primarily to the village. It does concern me a little bit. I did contact the AG's office and I did request an opinion. And they told me that that opinion cannot come from anybody but the Wayne County prosecutor.
And I was in
So-
contact with them too.
I would be surprised if they issued you an opinion directly, but I have worked really hard on this issue and I've done a lot of research. And the research that I have come up with, based on what the Ethics Commission sort of guided me towards and what ultimately the AG's office sort of directed me in the direction of, is that the position of Assistant Fire Chief serving simultaneously, a person serving simultaneously in the position of Fire Chief or Assistant Fire Chief and on the board and on the council, especially since there is a written agreement right now. Even if there's not a written agreement, because you hold a fiduciary capacity as you hold a fiduciary responsibility with respect to the fire department. And given the fact that there is it's not a remote conflict, there's an ongoing conflict that we have approached right now Given all of that's facts, it makes it very difficult for me to be able to say that serving in your position is compatible with serving as assistant fire chief.
But the question that came up is a fiduciary capacity. I can't sign checks, I can't approve bills to be paid, I have nothing to do with that. The only person that can pay, under approval of 3 trustees, is Patty Rosebrock, who's the fiscal officer.
And there
Nobody else
is,
can pay the
here,
bills.
I'll read word for word this letter of opinion that, it says, the factors to be considered with respect to questions of potential conflicts are the degree of remoteness of a potential conflict, which I think we can all agree that the remoteness is not remote, it's here upon us right now. The ability or inability of an individual to remove himself from the conflict, whether the individual exercises decision-making authority in both positions, whether the potential conflict involves the primary functions of each position, and whether the potential conflict may involve budgetary controls, or budgetary controls. So it's not just the fiduciary, there are other things, including, and I would say, the potential that there is a contract which you stated is maybe evergreen between the village and the fire department. And that is current if we consider it to be a current contract. So there are some red flags there, and I would be concerned about those.
Okay, well, they'll let us know.
So with that, and I appreciate you looking, I know you're going to do your own research, I appreciate that, and that's great. However, I have to, in this position, base everything off the solicitor. So with that, we did talk about the possible extension of 30 days. Is that something that you're requesting now?
Sure.
Okay. So with that, with the 3 council members that are here, is that something that you want to allow? Because we talked about that 2 months ago. So with that, I don't need a motion or anything like that, just a verbal yes from each of them if they want the 30. Okay. Right?
I'm good with it.
I'm not, sorry, Bob, I'm not,
That's fine.
I mean, Katie just broke her back to get this information.
Yeah.
You're doing your own thing. We said 60 days.
Yeah.
Okay. With that, Lon?
I think I would have to agree with Lee and with Katie on this one. Only for that, those points that you stated, I don't have anything against you, Bob, at all. I just think with what we've done, I think 60 days has been.
Well, I haven't made the decision, I'm gonna wait for an opinion from the AG.
So I guess with this, do we need to go offline for a little bit and discuss?
Probably.
Okay. Which one do we go under? I don't have it right in front of me. Do you have that right in front of you, Ben?
Sorry, I haven't done my section yet. Which my section, which was this section? I believe the compliance and that's all kind of official.
Yes, that's it.
Public officials fall under employee?
What's that?
Public officials fall under employee?
I don't know if you did.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a,
I guess,
it sounds,
and it's a hard. Yeah, no. We've never done it. I've never heard that.
and I apologize for not having that directly here.
I thought I had my assumptions. Before we get the assumption.
it
We
in
have a
this
list
drawer.
of drawers. There's only, what, 7 options or something?
Yeah, there's 7 options.
I have a copy.
I would hope so. What would it be? Administrative? It was 105 open meetings. Special meetings, business, executive council, meetings, study committees. And executive session, got it. Employee employment issues, purchase for public purposes, conference with attorney concerning disputes that are subject to pending or imminent court action, preparing, conducting, or review, negotiation, or bargaining with public employees. Matters that must be kept confidential by law. Details of security arrangements. Apparently it's just 6 of them. I thought there was more than 6, but. So,
Be with the public employee.
I guess, employee employment issue. There's nothing that says elected official specifically.
Yeah.
And if you go further into that definition of the public employee one, it has a section under there for public official.
Oh, great. That sounds
There's a subsection. I
Okay.
can show you.
So we have a motion to go under for that? Or is she searching for something else?
Yeah, we can do that one. I think it would fall under a number of those.
Okay. Under the employee? Okay. Yeah.
You just have to say
Somebody
hire,
needs to make a
fire.
motion.
You have to say hire, fire, or just.
Motion, we go into executive session for discussion of employee employment issues.
Is there a second? Roll call.
Tompkins,
Yes.
Armstrong, Levens, Sperling.
Yes.
Okay. Camera and ladies and gentlemen, we'll come get you as soon as we can. Sorry for the 3 or 4 minute delay right there.
For a time.
Okay, looking for a motion to come out of executive session.
Move to return to regular session.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
And roll call.
Armstrong, Levens,
Yes.
Sperling,
Yes.
Tompkins.
Yes.
Okay, with that, Mr. Sperling has a statement that he would, that he is prepared to make.
Can we have it when you're done?
Well, actually, no, it's kind of really screwed up.
Oh, okay.
It's his notes, not actual.
All right, go ahead.
Yes, it's my notes. At this particular point in time, I'm resigning my council position due to the possible incompatibility between councilman and assistant fire chief positions. Rather than prolong the delay in conducting normal village council business while we search for answers with this, it's just in the best interest of the village for me to step down. And since I've always believed in doing the right thing for the village, that's where we're at right now. So, I would like to say it's been my pleasure to serve the community and to serve with all the present and past council persons that have been seated at this table with me through the years. And as always, I remain available to discuss village issues, available to do lunch if anybody wants to, and I wish everybody the best in making decisions for the community of Stryker. Yours truly, Bob. And hopefully in the future, I will have an opportunity to return to this table once we, make determinations or eliminate any possibility of incompatibility.
So with that, Bob, if you would, make sure that you send that both to Beth and myself in the email. That way we have the document there. Unfortunately, we're not able to vote on that tonight because we don't have enough to vote. So what we're going to do is do a special session where we're gonna go through and get with the three here as well as the other two. Get a night where we can go through and actually vote on that to accept. From that standpoint also, I hope you know that this is disturbing to a point, but however, I fully understand, I support that. I appreciate your honesty and your willingness to work with it. It's not always we get people that are dedicated enough to step up and say, I will do this, and then see a possible conflict and say, let's step back and see let's get it cleared up first. So with that, thank you for what you have done to this point and all that you will continue to do later. So with that, again, we'll have to go through and do a vote, have a special session or a special meeting, vote to accept that, as well as a couple other things that we won't be able to do tonight. But thank you on that. Any other number one? Have anything? And that's fine. Okay, thank you. Are you staying or stepping over there for now?
I really have any reason to stay, but I guess it's going to be very odd to not sit at the table.
Right, absolutely.
Technically, I'm still at peace. I can't take action, so
Can't do
I probably would be best to leave and not
And we'll let you.
I'll open my mouth to say something.
Yes, yes. Just because of that. But with that, we will also let you know when that special meeting is, so that you can be at that as well. Because, they're all open, but they'll be voting on it then. Okay? All right. Well, thank you, sir.
Thanks. Thank you guys for always being good and treating us. Thank you.
So with that, that's going to lead us into the committee reports. Oh, you're going to each table? Yes.
Joey, yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm working my way this way. Lee. Yes. Rex. Yes. We'll see you around. Ellen. Yes. See you.
This is the very last time I've seen you, sure, so I feel like I'm just saying goodbye for a little bit. Take care.
Sorry for the distress.
No.
Thanks, Bob. Okay, with that, unfortunately, it's always tough. With that leads us into committee reports, which we did not have any this last month. And next after that is old business, where I think Alan's going to talk about the sidewalk.
Yes, we did a walkthrough with Siebenauer Construction on the East Curtis Street sidewalk project. There are 5 trees to be removed for the purpose of installation of new sidewalk. And on a good note, the engineer's estimate for this project was approximately $46,000. Since the bids came in lower, quite a bit lower, I don't have the exact numbers, our cost will be approximately $6,000. So we have a lot of surplus there, which We plan to replace some broken curbs around town with the extra money. That's pretty much the sidewalk thing.
The nice thing about that is, since it did come on under what was expected, we already had that money allocated, so it's just not going to sit there. We're gonna continue to upgrade or upkeep some of the other things, which was, they determined curbs or some areas that we need some attention. So that's kind of a nice little blessing there. Okay?
You want my?
Yeah, you might as well go ahead and go through your administrative report.
The guys have been working in the cemetery, repaired a drive on the south end, cold mixed, Durapatched over there, just where it was getting bad at the low end. Also, along with that, a lot of cleaning and mulching and getting ready for Memorial Day, which I guess there was a pretty good turnout for that. We did close the street down for that also. Rick Whittick from the American Legion has asked on behalf of him, which he was unable to attend tonight. June 21st, Thursday, June 21st at 9 a.m., there will be, for several hours, they are having a breakfast at the Legion for an antique car club. So he requested if we could close off the parking on the west side between North Depot and Lynn Street. He wanted your guys' opinion on that to see if there's any problem. I don't have a problem with it. I talked to Chief Slosher about it, and he didn't see a problem with that. We would have to go out, barricade it off probably the night before, so they could all be coming in. He said several hours. Does anybody have any objections to that? Or?
It's where Lynn Street and,
It's Defiance
100 block
Oh,
of South
okay.
Defiance.
on the west side only.
Oh,
So
okay.
the cars would have to park on the opposite side temporarily.
yeah.
So we're not blocking all traffic, or all,
Correct.
all parking,
We're not
it's just
closing
one
the
side.
road. Yes, it'll only be on the west side of the street.
He's shown, when I talked to him, he said a couple hours, like they're expecting to arrive at 9 and be done by 11, because they're going on to Bryan. They're coming from Archibald.
And that's more specific for the antique cars themselves, correct?
Mhm.
Correct.
Yeah.
He said they would just double park through there so they can get approximately 30 to 40 cars in there.
Okay.
So. And they'll use the parking lot at the post office for overflow if they have too many.
And they're all heading.
All
South.
probably heading that direction, yes. So that's what he wanted to stop in, that's why he was on the agenda tonight.
And that's usually, and I would, on that, I would say do what you guys want to do.
Right.
Just your typical,
Yeah,
more of an informational for us.
I am the authority on
Yep.
traffic flow,
Yes.
so yes, it is approved.
Okay.
Let's say do what you normally do.
Couple more things here. I did speak with the owner of the building at the 900 block of West Curtis Street. It's the abandoned building down in, at the river bottom there, and
What
he
you talked about.
does have plans to clean it up. He did not specifically say a time frame, but he would like it cleaned up, so that's what he's planning on doing. The community garden, if you've noticed that or heard about that, is out at the water plant on Ellis Street. For the sole fact that we had a bare lot there and access to water for watering the garden.
With that, if you're not on social media, good. However, what came out of that, and I think it was the Stryker site, someone asked about a community garden. I threw out there, if they're really serious about something like that, I might be able to give a little of assistance. Don't know if I can, but I'll see if I can do something if they're serious. It seemed like it became a little more serious. So once talked to Alan, there was a spot there that we could do it. So as of right now, it's a community garden. The plants were donated by a former resident, wants to be unnamed. However, I can tell you that they made quite a trip just to get here. The only reason they donated them because Stryker is still home to them, and they really like the people here. So this is still home. I just was pretty blessed to go through and be able to have someone do that for the village. As far as the tilling, I can tell you there was a gentleman down there with a front tine tiller trying to break up new ground. Mr. Chuck Clausen came up with his Kubota and made easy work of it. He went through it 3 times or 4 times. It's still a new garden, but he donated that as well. So as of right now, it seems like it's working fairly decent. The plants were put in by the First Baptist Church Youth Group and a couple other volunteers. So the other question I got is, where's the food going? Quite honestly, I don't know. I really don't know. It's a group of people that wanted to put something together and kind of have a little project. So hopefully it's going to go to the people that it needs to go to. And if it doesn't, hopefully someone learns something from the community working together, as well as maybe how to grow a garden. So thank you for staking that spot out. I think I did find a piece of sidewalk about like this in there.
And we removed it.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Yeah, that was, we knew we hit that.
Along with that, we'd like to thank Matt Dodd and the Baptist Church Youth Group for planting the flowers on the downtown
Oh, yeah.
flower pots.
They did that same night as the garden. They had
Yes.
2 groups, they split up.
And that's all I have.
Okay.
I have, are you done with that? I have a question.
Yes.
I went for a walk, we do, but the other night, the street light is on the west side of the corner, right in front of the subway. Okay, that very last one there on the corner. You might want to have that light checked out.
And Depot?
Check. Coming on or off, yeah.
Depot, okay, at Subway,
Yeah,
on the west corner.
our main pole, yeah.
Okay.
I just noticed the light was going off, so probably the eyes bad.
All right, we'll get it repaired.
But another thing too, sir, you know when the start date is on the sidewalk project after the trees?
Yes, the trees will come down first, and then the sidewalk will, I don't know exact date on that.
Okay. That'd be greatly appreciated. Get a lot of traffic, foot traffic. There's a lot of people that walk that side.
Anything else for the administrator?
Nope.
Okay. As Chief Slusher comes up, I'll talk about number 10, the legislative portion where we have a few A, B, and C there. Just a reminder, we can't vote on that stuff, so that will become in the special meeting that we have with the members involved. Just want to mention that before Chief Slusher takes the floor. Chief, it's all yours.
All right. Well, I apologize for not getting you the pretty cover letter and all that stuff that I usually send out. Obviously, I was at training all last week. Just going through the reports from, we did get a couple of days added to this report. Really, I think, what was Thursday, the 7th? I think. So really, we had only been minus 3 reports since Thursday. So, but since our last report, 92 complaints or calls for service, 19 traffic warnings with 5 citations, and I will just note that we did do 17 ordinance violations within this month. So ordinance violations are first and foremost very important. Even though it's more of a zoning issue than it is a police issue, I'll just say that we try to stay on top of things. I told you I was gonna get you. Just a couple of things I wanted to touch on. I went ahead and we are gonna get new radios for our vehicles. I know I had said something last month. I just need to put the safety over, of the officers over the price tag of a radio. We can get, what I wanted to go to is basically a repeater style system. It's a little bit smaller than our handheld device, which will clip on to our vest very easily, and it actually runs through the repeater of the car rather than running through the repeater on the village garage. Now, we're still going to need these for Summerfest, things of that nature, when we have, you know, multiple officers on duty at one time. There's always going to be a need for these radios. I mean, these were free. These were paid for through DHS, and we intend to keep them. The repeater system will probably be okay, you know, if we're running administrational stuff, you know, between officers and everything. We'll probably be okay with that. I don't foresee us having to dump a whole bunch of money into this repeater. But for $800, I can upgrade each vehicle, so $800 a piece. I can upgrade each of those vehicles to, we actually, through Mark Bishop, Mark's Radio Repair out of Napoleon, he actually gave us a trial system to use, and it is absolutely unreal, the difference, clarity, the just being able to talk and hear, quite frankly, hear things. I sit in my office with my radio on, even when I got the scanner, you know, up against this wall, even when I had it up front. A few things come across, a few things don't. These radios undeniably are the best thing I've ever heard in my life, in my career thus far. So we're going to go to them. $800 a piece. Mark's going to start the install on Friday with the part-time vehicle, because that is my priority, is to keep these part-time officers safe. Once he's done with that, then we'll rotate cars through and just keep them going down there on try to be a constant basis. So that's where we're at. Talked to Beth about it. We'll try to take some out of capital. If we have to take it out of my entire operating budget, so be it. You know, we'll suck it up yet again. But this is what we need to do. So
Safety first.
yes. We do have firearms qual this Saturday and next Saturday. Since I'm the lead firearms instructor for both West Unity and Pioneer, and probably Eden now, they'll probably be tagging along with us out at the range. So consecutive Saturdays, it works out for everybody. So that's what we're going to do. So, but we'll be out on the range probably from 08 until 1300, 1400 or so. All right. Other than that, are there any questions for me?
Okay, thanks, Chief.
Right on.
Beth, did you have anything else you wanted to say?
Well, I did, but, I've been working on the records to have a record commission meeting,
Okay,
but we should probably wait to see
where we fall.
where we fall on council. Although, I mean, it does require the mayor and the village solicitor, myself, Patsy Mueller, and it's supposed to be the president of council, but you could designate, I would think, another council member. I have everything from upstairs down sorted from the upstairs next door. I did for those of you who didn't, I did a record retention of the Historical Society, an inventory of everything we have, and in 2014, we got rid of like 17 big trash containers. I have probably maybe 10 more.
Okay.
And I have a company that I found that will come in with a shredder on the truck, and they will do 3 containers for $95. That's their base, and then it's $25 for every container after that. So I guess I'm ready to go whenever we can get that commission. I'd like to
Get moving on.
get moving on
Okay.
that as well.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I think that's it. Oh, I will be at training for the treasurer's training. Is, I don't know if you want me, I assume you want me here for the special meeting.
When is that?
I am taking vacation Wednesday and I will be at training Thursday, Friday.
Okay.
So,
It might be early wait for our next meeting, special meeting.
yeah, I'm thinking
Okay.
next week, if that
Okay.
would work for people. I probably, Tuesday's actually my last day of this week.
Okay. Well, why don't you go through when we're offline and
Mhm.
and see what works for everyone as far as time.
Mhm.
So with that, that leads us into other, which I will open up for the three of you. I have something, but we can't go into that because it was another executive to discuss a few things. So with that, I will start, as I always do.
No.
Okay.
I just got a question. I know we got the grant for the boat ramp.
Mhm.
What was the?
You wanna talk on that?
What
Wanna
was
talk
the
on that
deadline
one?
The ninth?
Oh, we're doing that next
2018?
year because there's 2 years, so we have till the end of 19 to do it. And because we're doing a sidewalk and the water line this year, I didn't wanna run us too low because it is gonna be like 16,000.
I guess my question was, how soon, do we get plans together and?
The
all the
engineer
paperwork
it will have to be bid just like all our projects, so they have the design. They have the design already done, I had to have a design to apply for the grant.
Oh, okay.
So, they have the design, the grade, the stone, the type of dock, all that already in there. It's just a matter of putting it out for bid, and which they'll probably do at the beginning of next year and then do it like mid-year.
So definitely on the books. I know you talked to me about that, and
Yeah.
I questioned it.
Mhm.
Sorry I didn't bring that up earlier, but yes,
Yeah.
it has been approved. It's just a matter of,
Yeah, it is.
next year it's gonna be done.
It is like a 33,000, 33 and some odd dollars, and we got 16,700 nature work.
I guess I just didn't wanna be the last rush thing, you know what I'm saying?
No, we have it, and we have till the end of 19,
Okay.
so.
So it's there.
Mhm.
Okay, anything else? Okay, so with that, look for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second that.
And roll call.
Hawkins,
Yes.
Armstrong,
Yes.
Blevins.
Yes.
Okay, and Cameron.